I'm you that are just listening and not watching. That is Steve Canepa, CFO of Filmland Spirits. Steve's joining us again for another major party. How's it going, Steve?
I love it. I'm so happy to be back with you guys.
Yeah, glad to have you here. Glad to talk a little golf.
I miss you in between majors. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to know what I'm going to do between the British and next year's Masters. I'm going to have to launch some whiskey, I think.
Well, hold on. Don't forget the Ryder Cup. So we can kind of shoehorn that in as a major.
Love it.
That's a take.
Perfect.
But speaking of, we haven't spoken actually. Before we do, so we're gonna talk a little bit about the Canadian Open. I mean, that was quite a fiasco that happened yesterday. We're gonna talk a little bit about what's going on with PGA, LIV, or I guess I should say that the fund, and then we're gonna get into the U.S. Open. Local guy, boots on the ground, and Steve, living in California, so he's played LACC a few times, and we'll get a little insights there, and we'll get into some picks and some bets. So, but before we do, Steve, what are you sipping on tonight?
I've got an Orphan Barrel Copper Tongue.
Ooh, nice.
It's a 16-year. It says cast strength, but I love the flavor. I think they put a little too much water in it. I think it's 45% alcohol, so 90th proof. Okay. If they would have kept it up above 100, I think it would have been perfect. But it's still really good. It probably takes it from a B plus, A minus. It could have been an A plus, but really good pouring.
Yeah, well, I've got our U.S. Open pick that's going to be heading your way. It's at 115.2 so that's that'll make up for what you're missing. That'll make up for what you.
Let's blend them. Can I get a little bit of
that? Exactly. Dan, what are you drinking?
Hennessy.
Sprite. Oh, Hennessy.
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 By the way, I'll be heading to Sweetens this weekend for the member. So don't worry, I will not be showing off my trophy when I don't know. Stranger things have happened, I guess. You never know. Games, it's shaky at best. But all right, so guys, let's get into the Canadian Open. What can I say other than holy shit? Tommy Fleetwood still does not have a win on North American soil, and I mean, I don't know, guys. Like it was his. It was his, right? He was playing iron off the tee the entire tournament on 18. Goes back, does it again, and just completely shits the bed. It looked exactly like something I would do. Hey, I'm going to play conservative. I'm going to get it in play. It's a par 5. I'm going to get there in 3, make a birdie, move on. Can't get it done. I mean, that's a bigger storyline to me than Nick Taylor winning. And is Tommy giving it up?
That's a good point. Yeah, I think it's a bigger story for sure. I mean, he's been searching. I think we think he's going to do it, and he's showing good recent form, and then just can't close it out. What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, it's funny when we had the podcast before the PGA. I'd been watching Tommy just by chance, and I felt really good about the way he was playing, and he played pretty good there. That was one of the greatest tournaments I've watched on TV in a long time, and he had a good showing. So as I saw him playing good in this one, I'm like, he's going to do it. He's going to do it, and it's just it's one of those things that you can't put your finger on. I mean, you can almost see the body language and the tenseness, and you're like, uh-oh.
Yeah, I didn't see any announcements, and Tommy Ladd will be teeing it up in LA this week. I wouldn't be if there's a new caddy on the bag, and I'm not blaming the caddy at all, but if there's a new caddy on the bag, I wouldn't be surprised. They were having some pretty. I didn't hear what they were saying. They didn't get in with the microphone, but what you could hear it from a distance, it sounded like it was some pretty tense conversations. And Steve, to your point, the body language was definitely, it was not good. It wasn't good at all. It was no Djokovic out there closing out in the 3 sets. That's for sure. Let's just leave it at that. But congratulations, Nick Taylor. I think Rory may be the biggest winner in this, at least in his mind. He is not the defending champion now, so he probably doesn't have to go back to the Canadian Open if he doesn't want to. So he might have walked out of there with the biggest smile on his face. I don't know. It looked okay, but nothing special.
So he gets to come to the South the week early next year down here in North Carolina.
I suppose so.
Pinehurst.
I suppose Pinehurst. Oh, I meant to tell you, by the way, I don't know if I can say it or not. Friend of the show, let's just say he's a golf pro at a North Carolina golf course. He's taken a new position in Florida. So that's something that we could probably get on the books once he gets settled in. And Steve, I'm saying this with you here because you may want to come down and get a little Florida sunshine yourself. But
I would love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep me posted on potential dates for a Florida visit.
And new course, by the way. They've got a few courses overseas, but yeah, we'll talk. We'll get him on the show. We'll talk about it, and then we'll be able to release. I don't want to give anything away that I'm not supposed to.
Nice.
But
Sounds
before
good.
you leave Canada, I mean, Nick Taylor rolling that putt in front of the home crowd.
Oh my God.
That was something special. As bad as you felt on one side. I mean, just is he the first Canadian to win that?
I think he's like the first Canadian in 40 or 50 years or something.
Yeah, because I don't think Mike Weir ever won it. I don't believe. Yeah.
No.
So that, I mean, it's kind of sad that that's not all we're talking about. It was.
I know.
I mean, it was an incredible roll. It was a little Justin Leonard-esque, just from so far away, up and down a hill, and yeah, pretty cool.
Well, I will tell you, I thought they were going to another playoff hole. I didn't see that ending on that putt. Not a chance in hell. If we would have been live betting, I would have lost a lot of money on that putt. I mean, I don't know. What's the chances on that?
Crazy.
I mean, his are really good for that putt, but go to do it again. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think so. But
would you the tackle though? We got to talk about the tackle Love had.
We do have to talk about.
You asked me pre-show. You said, "Do you think that was staged?" I'm like, no way that was staged. I mean, he got taken out. Who knew the Canadians were so good at security? They needed it at the Oscars.
I mean, socialism, insurance, everything that's healthcare that's going on. I mean, that's not good. It's not good. It's not good. I don't know. I did ask if it was staged. Dan didn't think so. Steve, what's your take? Do you think it was legit?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I don't think it was staged. Yeah, I'm kind of with Dan on that one.
Yeah, I think it's just legit. Yeah, interesting.
That's I don't know. It's like one of those you almost did too good of a thing. It's like you pump the brakes a little, Rambo. Like we don't need to get into all this. And I haven't seen any comments from the guy, so I don't know what he was thinking, but because he was just like shaking up, he was going to spray him with champagne or a beer or whatever he had in his hand, right? You know what I did appreciate is all the fans, all the player fans that came out. So Fleetwood had supporters out there, Nick Taylor had all the players out there, and everybody was having a beer and cheering on their bro. I thought good. That was really, really good for the game of golf. And in the business, they might call that a proper segue because there's been a lot of news in the game of golf this week. So Steve, and this will be a couple of these will be kind of pointed at you just to get your take on it. As a professional, as someone that's set in a C-level spot from a financial position, it's at the end of the day, we can talk, there's morality in everything, right? And there is just the humanity of, we should do the right thing as people. However, when it comes to money, when it comes to investors, I'll say, / Wall Street, there's a commitment there and something's got to happen. When you heard the news about the PGA Tour merging with the PIF, what was the initial thoughts on?
Well, it's funny how if you trace back to us meeting and talking, for the first time, we've been talking about this in stages, and everything has gone the way I thought it would, but at a faster pace. And you were part of that pace quickening for me, for my enlightenment, which is when you told the stories being at the Masters and seeing them come together.
Sure.
The LIV Tour and the PGA Tour. I'm like, oh, maybe it's going to go a little faster than I thought. And then talking with you guys through it, I'm like, well, and then we had the little analogy about, maybe Hollywood game. I'm like, yep, those are the signs. Then when I saw the PGA Championship and I saw how they interacted, my clock started going forward to this happening. Yeah. And just to follow on a point you made earlier with the friends staying around, watching Bryson stay behind and congratulate Brooks, and he was the only person to do it. You're like, well, those guys have built a little bit of a bond on that tour, so they've got a kinship. But then, Rory and Brooks played practice rounds together, and so the clock just started coming closer and closer. I would have said 3 years, and if like you'd asked me on day one, I said 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
And then every bit of information since then, including interacting with you guys, has made it come closer and closer. And even when it happened, it was like, well, that was even a little quicker than I thought. I thought maybe early 2024 was kind of my new window, and it just happened faster. But to get to your first point, yeah, it's business. I mean, once the dollars become overwhelming to any moral thoughts or concerns, just overwhelming, it's these things are almost inevitable.
Yeah, the almighty dollar wins every time, right?
Yeah.
or you lose. That's kind of the way it goes. So so great points, and yeah, I mean, seeing them interact, in person at the Masters, seeing watching it on TV, and and then now you've got a champion. I'm excited about the fact that we're going to have the best players playing again. From a business side, though, they didn't really give us a lot of color as to how this thing's going to go. Right? It sounded like this was a handshake, maybe after a few pops on the golf course or a few days on the golf course, and hey, look, we're going to do this. We don't know exactly what we're going to do, but we're going to do it. And I got a lot of texts from players, from some caddies, and it's, they were a little taken aback about how they found out about it. I guess, this is kind of like, hey, welcome to, I shouldn't say welcome to, but you got a little taste of corporate America right there, right? You got a little taste of how publicly traded businesses, even though this may not necessarily be one, but it's for-profit businesses, I guess. Let me say that, how for-profit businesses run, and kind of you get what you get when we got to make a financial decision. Do you think there's any, you can defer if you want, but what do you think, what do you think the real reason behind it was? Because Monahan has definitely said, extremely hypocritical of me, and I did the right thing because it was the right thing to do based on the information I had at the time, and I got new information. What's your take on the reason behind it and the quickness?
I think the reality of the pending litigation and the fact that there'd be a lot of documents that would have been made public about the profitability or non-profitability of certain entities. The quickness was to get everything out of the courts and into just personal interaction, so that these things weren't public documents at all. Because once they hit the courts, any good reporter could find out anything they wanted to about what the PGA does with its money.
So you think the Fox News trial had anything to do with the PGA Tour coming together with LIV, and how much stuff came out pre-trial?
I think indirectly. I mean, I think any case where people started saying, if look at that example, that could be one of those examples, right? But there's tens or if not hundreds of those examples where once something gets into the courts, and I'm not criticizing the PGA. They do so much charitable work. It's unbelievable. But the idea that they're a nonprofit, I've never made sense of it in my head.
Yeah.
And it really came to fruition for me when they all of a sudden had more money to give out for elevated events. Like, well, where did that come from? Well,
as they're currently being investigated, right? I mean, they have been for several years looking at where did all this money come from that allegedly you didn't what were you doing with it prior to this? And now all of a sudden it's there. Last question, and we'll get into the US Open, which is what we're really here to talk about. Last question. So this and they didn't actually, people are using the term merge. I don't know if it's ignorance that they don't really know what happened, or maybe they're catching stuff at, in flybys, but they created a new entity in which the PGA and the PIF are going to be partners, right? I mean, that's essentially what happened. And LIV is involved from the aspect of PIF owns LIV. So PGA and LIV I mean, I guess kind of there's something there, but it's really PIF and it's PGA. I think it'll go away. But my question is, do you think that what's the chance that something like this gets shut down? I mean, because there's been some Fortune 50s over the past, I don't know, let's say 10 years that have tried to merge in like some duopoly things and hadn't been in the US, it's been overseas, and it got shot down and other things happened. So, I mean, it's a chance, obviously, that it could get shot down. What do you think that looks like?
I think it's slim because what those two did was create a for-profit legal entity. And any organization that sees a new for-profit legal entity formed with that kind of money sees the tax dollars automatically. So to me, there's a very little chance. The times where they get shut down are usually due to anti-competitive situations. Monopolies would be formed or whatever. But the regulators I think, see a new tax base, and I think that'll keep this thing from getting shut down.
Well, a couple of things there, Steve. Don't think about one. I think Microsoft and Activision, we thought that was going to pass. And then there's recently, I think today got announced that they're still not quite sure about that one, or it got rejected, or it's being reviewed. And then number two, with all the rhetoric in Washington about TikTok now owning all of media, I think there's going to be some pushback with a foreign government owning the PGA Tour or part of it.
True. So I think the differences there are where the taxable income will reside. So I think the things that scare them are when the entities that are merging, the controlling entity, can shield that taxable income in a foreign place with a different tax bracket, different tax rate. In this case, and I don't know the details, but I think the idea is the taxable income will be from a US based company. But look, that's one man's opinion without a ton of reading a bunch of literature. Sure. It's just what my instincts tell me.
I just hope things get back to normal fast. We don't really like all this non-normal. Right?
Well, the PGA was pretty normal. The PGA Championship felt more normal than anything I've felt in a long time. That felt like a good tournament,
and a great tournament, right? I mean, it just like it really delivered, and of which, Steve, I mean, you're teeing this thing up perfect segue into this week's U.S. Open at LA Country Club. We're going to talk we're going to get some insider tips and pointers and personal experience here. We won't talk too much about the 6th hole, but we may touch on it a little bit. So LA Country Club, it's going to play over 7,400 yards. It's a par 70. We're on bent grass greens. And the stimp meter allegedly is going to be running at 13. So just to put that into scope, what does 13 mean? Augusta is usually coming in at 14 or 15. So if it's, depending on the weather, and we'll chat a little about that in a second, but depending on the weather, I mean, this thing potentially gets to Augusta green speeds. And I think from a course comp, I have not played either, but I'm hearing Augusta thrown around a lot. I'm hearing big fairways. I'm hearing long approach shots. I'm hearing the rough. I've heard conflicting stories, and again, this would be, I guess, non-standard playing conditions, right? In the U.S. Open, coming in and setting this thing up, right? So, what's your take on LA Country Club, Steve? And what's your experience like there?
Yeah, so I could see a little bit of the Augusta comparison, but I think it feels a little more rustic than Augusta does. There's a barranca, which is the term we use out here for a dry riverbed. There's one at Riviera you hear about all the time during the LA Open, and it runs through almost the entire course, and it comes into play on the majority of holes. And that feeling of seeing that dry riverbed and the growth around it, and there's some bridges over it and stuff, it gives it a little different vibe. But the greens themselves, I can see that comparison, although they're more quadranted. Like it's in certain spots they're flat, but but if you miss that spot, you got to deal with the hump, versus Augusta seems like the whole green has a personality to it. But I mean, it's a good compare at the green. The views off the tees are completely different. It's not so much tree lined shaped for you off the tee, but I think once you get that approach shot, I think the Augusta comparison comes into play a little bit more. It won't be as emerald green. It'll be a little more of a lighter shade of green with a lot more natural grasses around it, some browns and stuff, and you'll see more
kind of
rocks and things
deserty,
like that.
kind of a deserty feel, right?
Kind of a mix in between. So
Yeah.
like take a desert course and an Augusta and kind of mix that together, because LA is basically a desert that we irrigated,
Sure.
right? So
Yeah.
but
Yeah, and
I
I've heard some other course comps that were TPC Scottsdale, and I don't know if you played any of these, but I heard Scottsdale. I've not played Shinnecock, but I was there for the U.S. Open, so that was somewhat compared to. I don't think the rough is it's not gonna have that feathery heathered rough. But when you mention the Barranca, and we're going to hear that a lot this week, right?
Yeah,
Is that would if I'm kind of equating that to something, and I got the Riviera piece, and that's the George C. Thomas design. Was the architect for both of those. I'm hearing that the two aren't necessarily similar, even though they do have similar characteristics. The courses play different, but would you equate the Barranca here at LACC to what do they call it at the old course, St. Andrews? What's the water channel that runs through the whole thing? The name's escaping me, but
is it a burn or something?
The burn, right? Yeah, the burn.
Yeah, so this is, you can play your ball out of the Barranca typically, unless it's embedded in a unplayable lie, but it's not. It doesn't have water in it.
Okay.
So it's more of it's an old river or creek that is dried up, but it creates a depression in a valley that you have to play around. But it's not a water hazard. Gotcha.
So your experience there, how many times have you played it? You can brag if you want. We don't mind.
I've played the course they're going to play a couple times, and then there's a south course across the street. And it's in my top 5. I think last time we were on, or maybe 2 times ago, you asked me for my top 5, and it was in there. Yeah. George C. Thomas, who you described, and his partner William Bell, they designed Los Angeles Country Club Riviera, and then another one here called Bel Air Country Club. Yep. And although they don't play the same after you get started, the first hole on each is a design characteristic where it's a downhill par 5. That's very reachable in 2, and they call it a gentle handshake. And I birdied the first hole the first time I played LACC, and nice. I thought I was the shit. And I think I shot 97 or something. And I'm like a high 70s, low 80s golfer. So it smacked me in my face right after that. And the other characteristic is the second hole is usually one of the hardest par 4s you'll ever play in your life. So you have this nice opening par 5, and then a super hard par 4, and all 3 courses have that. Then after that, they all change. They're very different. But I think the layout of it, the fact that you're sitting in the middle of one of the biggest cities in America, but you don't feel it until a couple of the holes you get some views. But other than that, you feel like you're just on an oasis golf course somewhere. The design, every hole is unique. There's no 2 that you say, well, I played that 3 holes ago, except it was a dogleg ride instead of a dogleg. You never get that feeling. The bunkering is both visually appealing and also part of the golf at the same time. And to be honest, the clubhouse is one of the coolest clubhouses I've ever been in. The history there, the vibe in it, it's a fun place.
Because it moved the clubhouse, right? The clubhouse was physically relocated from another location, and then they added on to it. Is that right? The core of it?
I think that was way early in the history.
Okay.
But right. I think since like the 30s or 40s, it has that. I mean, it has the vibe of a pretty old clubhouse. So I'm not sure about
gotcha.
When it first started. I think it started as a 9-hole course and
yeah.
grew, and so maybe they moved it back then. But gotcha. I am so excited to see it both at U.S. Open conditions, which I obviously didn't play it in, but growing the rough up. The rough wasn't too much of a penalty when I played it. It was definitely a thing, but it wasn't like you couldn't advance your ball, and you could definitely find it. So they'll probably narrow in the fairways, grow the rough up a little bit. The bunkers will be manicured to perfection, and I think it's just going to be a perfect venue for a U.S. Open. I assume the score will be around even par.
Ooh, I love it.
I love it. Predictions already.
I like this. So when you're thinking about how the course is going to play, in your experience, and again, not knowing, what the U.S., how they're going to set it up. I mean, we can go historically around kind of what happened. What do you think the benefit? So from a player's perspective, right? So if we're talking about off the tee, we're talking approach, we're talking around the green, putting. I mean, putting, obviously, I mean, that's, somebody gets hot with a putter, that you got something there, right? But I guess tee to green, what do you think the most important aspect is going to be of the game here?
I think it's the approach shots to get to stay out of the trouble around the green for sure, but to find the quadrant on the green that gives you the best chance for a two putt. Maybe a birdie, but a two putt. There's parts of the greens above the holes on some of them, impossible if the pin is short. I mean, it's going to run by 10 feet. There's like, I think it's number 15 is a little 100 and something yard par 3 that has this hump in the middle. And if the pin's on either side of that hump, they could play like 75 yards. If I remember the Walker Cup was there a couple of years back, and they had it at 75 yards. That was, the pin was in the front. If you hit to the back of that green, there is no chance for par. 0.000 chance, unless they leave the stick in and you hit the stick. So I think it's the precision of approach shots. The driving, until I see it, I won't think is like, someone who isn't precise with their driver will still have a good chance, but it's precision with the approach shot to me will be the key.
Yeah. And I think that's going to be the case, right? I think at least that, it's going to be longer tee shot or longer approach shots, excuse me. And that's kind of, I guess we've seen that over the past several years. I mean, it's all going to get down, from my perspective, it's going to get down to ball strikers, and ball strikers is where that's who's gonna feast or famine. I like a lot of folks that may not necessarily be long hitters this week. So there's some bomb and gouge folks that I think are going to be able to. I don't think it'll be Bryson DeChambeau at Winged Foot, but I don't know that this is going to hurt Bryson in the way in what we saw out of him at the PGA Championship. So there could be something there. So let me give a few hits here. Last 5 winners: Matt Fitzpatrick, Jon Rahm, Bryson DeChambeau, Gary Woodland, and Brooks Koepka. I mean, that's all kind of saying long hitters to me, even though I just said it's not. But yeah, I agree. Dan, what do you think?
It's ball strikers. It's all about ball strikers. Look for Viktor to be deadly this week, somebody like that kind of caliber. The rough looked really nasty. It did remind me of Winged Foot. I get it's not exactly the same or whatnot, but it looked like it's going to be really tough to get out of. And if you can muscle it out of there like he did, it's going to be an advantage for you. But yeah, it's all about ball striking for me this week.
All right. Well, let's talk about some players. Let's head over to our friends at fantasynational.com. I'm going to look at 2023 US Open DraftKings, the last 24 rounds. And here's where I'm at with this, guys. We can spend all day talking about how Scottie Scheffler's probably going to win. Jon Rahm's probably going to win. Brooks Koepka, just based on what happened, it's a given that he needs to win. I don't know if you're going here. I mean, to me, if you're going this direction, you gotta go. Where are you heading? Where are you going from? And we can talk from a DraftKings standpoint or just outright winners, however you want to go about it.
I was glad to see that Brooks is finally getting some respect from the DFS community here. I think the last 2 majors, he wasn't anywhere close to $10,000.
I think that was negotiated in the PIF and PGA.
You go first, Steve.
Well, so the person that I don't want to disrespect, but that I worry a little about on this list is Jon Rahm a little bit, because he won at Torrey, which has brutal rough. But I'll say the difference between Torrey and here, and I played them both, I spent time in San Diego and here, obviously. The rough is thick, but it's the same. Almost the whole course, the rough is the same. And at LACC, you can hit it a yard off and have a certain line. You can hit it 20 yards off and have a better lie. It's inconsistent. The topography is inconsistent. the Barranca, you can get in the Barranca and go, oh no, I'm in the Barranca, and have a perfect lie in the Barranca on a tuft of grass that you can get your club on. And I think of this group, the level-headedness, not getting frustrated when you didn't hit that bad of a shot, but you got a bad break. Not letting that get to you will be a huge key. Now lately, Jon Rahm has shown a better ability to not get as frustrated, but there's going to be things that happen to all of these guys where they thought they hit a great shot and their lie will be awful.
Hold on. Did you see Jon Rahm? Did you see Jon Rahm at the PGA Championship and at Memorial? I saw a little bit of Jon Rahm of old.
So I'm taking a bigger sample set, but I think but those are what worries me. He still has the occasional flare up of the behavior that was more constant before. He's seems to have managed it, but it still flares its ugly head. And I think if there's a course that can do that to you, and you say, well, not you guys, but someone say, well, he managed it at Torrey Pines. Torrey Pines is a different animal in terms of its challenge. When you hit a bad shot, and when you hit a good shot, and you almost always get rewarded for your good shot there, and you know what to expect on your bad shot. It's 5 feet off the fairway, it's going to be this kind of rough. It's 20 feet off the fairway, it's going to be that kind of rough. Here, that's not going to be the case. It could be, like I said, it could be an inch off the fairway and be way worse of a lie than 20 feet off the fairway, just based on luck. So that's where he scares me a little bit. But where Scheffler, Cantlay, Koepka, they seem to handle that better, that bad luck situation a little bit better.
If Scheffler gets hot with the putter, mail it in. We've got wire to wire winner. If he's hot, if he's gaining strokes, and what's he losing? Almost 3 strokes, right, over his last 24 in putting. But if Scheffler gets hot with the putter, if it shows up, mail it in. It's done. I'm not going there. I'm going elsewhere, because I do think to kind of where you were heading, Steve, or what you stated, is that the course is going to be different, right? I mean, we've got some guys that play the 2017 Walker Cup there. And who do we have? We had Scheffler, Morikawa. I think that may be all that's in this field. There may be a couple others. I think that's it. But I don't. Course experience really isn't going to lean into this very much. And I think Scheffler has a chance. It's putter dependent there. Oh, I shouldn't say he has a chance. Obviously, he has a chance. I don't think it. But it's putter
he's got to get
dependent.
that. He's got to get that off the tee going in the right direction, man. He's leading on all ball striking except for off the tee. He's number 2. Everything else is number 1.
Yeah, what's his problem?
if the putter gets hot, it's done, man. You can go ahead and ink it. I think I'm going to live in the lower half if I'm anywhere in this $10,000 or higher price guys. I mean, I think Koepka, it's a storyline, right? I mean, it's one of those. It's like a Vince McMahon moment. It's like no. I think he did absolutely win the PGA Championship. And I think he had some solid contenders around him, right, trying to win. So I think he played and he won it. It wouldn't be the first time that Brooks Koepka has won a U.S. Open and a PGA Championship and a U.S. Open back to back.
Third time or so?
Could be a third time. It could be. I think it's real. I don't know how it can't. And it has got to be. I mean, think about. I mean, as an A-lister, as an elite athlete, right? Thinking about. Just I will never know what this feels like, but I mean there's got to be just something inside of you that feeds and fuel. And by the way, he #wanted to be a baseball player, so that's we ain't going down that road, but it's a thing. I don't know how he doesn't take that and feed off of it and just absolutely unload and just crush the field. Crush the field may be a stretch, but.
I agree. Brooks and Viktor are my 2 guys here. I think they both are just ball striking it, and recent form is wonderful. Hard to beat. I mean, Brooks doesn't play on the tour, but if he did, I think he'd be contending for 1 or 2 in the world right now.
Potentially player of the year.
Yeah.
So, and with the merger, I mean, you never know. We may get there. I think Cantlay, I mean, you can see by ownership. I mean, Cantlay's going to get overlooked. I don't know that he necessarily needs to. I mean, ball striking the hell out of it. I think there's something there. Viktor Hovland, obviously coming off Memorial, he's had a week to rest, and first time winning on mainland soil in the United States. So, I mean, he's probably riding high pretty too. And, thinking about what happened at the PGA Championship with Koepka, I mean, is this a little bit of a redemption moment for Viktor Hovland? I don't know.
Could be. What do you think about Viktor this week, Steve?
I think it's a good point. I mean, I actually, I like those. I know Brooks has won both in the same year, but I almost always like the person who almost did something to do it the next time. And Viktor, if he hadn't won a Memorial, I'd be even higher on him right now, because I think he played really good at the PGA. I mean, really, really well. And his short game is, you could just see the improvement of it week by week by week. And he's going to need it here. So I think he's a good play in the 10,000 and up range for sure.
Yeah, I mean, ranked 7th in the field. I mean, it's got to be. I mean, there's something there, right? If he shows up and he's ball striking and he can, I mean, he'll be able to get there off the tee. If he's hitting the ball good, which I have no reason to believe that he wouldn't. It's just around the green, right? And I don't know what the rough's going to look like there around the green and the kind of the runoffs. You mentioned the par 3 earlier, right? The short par 3. Like if you miss it long, you're just completely toast. I mean, some of those things could absolutely derail you. And this is going to be. Who makes the least errors, right?
Yeah.
And Steve, you said it earlier, but we've already got a projection on what we think. So give me an over under for the winning score, cumulative, obviously, end of the tournament, Sunday evening. What do you think the score is? Oh, give me an over under number to bet.
Yeah, I'm taking even par.
Ooh, all right. So at 69.5, you're taking over.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I like it. $9,000 range. How do you think Rory feels right now? How do you think Rory? I know Rory's not looking at. He's not looking at DraftKings. Trust me. Okay. but I mean, in where he's ranked, and there's betting odds, and there's things going on. I mean, it's kind of coming into play. And I mean, I think, are the expectations just set too high for Rory? Because it's not bad. I mean, T9, T7, T7 in his last 3 tournaments. I mean, T47 at Wells Fargo, which I thought he probably would have played a lot better. Do you think is it just too much noise? Like, is the drama around everything that's gone on? It was wearing on him clearly. He said it was, and he took some time off, which rightfully so, as you should. But is this too much for Rory?
I think so. I think there's just too much going on in his head to free up his complete golf game.
I didn't see any interviews this week, but I think that it's going to be a bait and switch, right? It's going to be, what do you think about LA Country Club? By the way, all those comments you made about the PGA Tour and about how you hate LIV, give me some more info on that. I think it's going to bang him around. I mean, I'm not going for a miss the cut bet, but I can't go there.
Let me ask you guys a question. He'll do more interviews probably than anybody else, and he'll say probably 95% of the time he'll say the right thing.
Yeah.
Do you think it takes more energy to say the right thing or to say the truth?
The right thing.
Yeah, it takes so much out of you, because you have to think of 10. You're going to anticipate the question. You got to think of 10 different answers, but I can't say that, but I can't say that. And you got to, and it's going to me, it zaps him. Where saying the truth doesn't take very much energy, right? And you can get in more trouble by saying the truth sometimes, but it doesn't take anywhere near as much energy. He's such a good human being that he's not going to want to offend. He's going to spend so much energy trying to say the right thing all the time. I think it's just going to mental energy, not physical. Obviously, he's in great physical shape, but I think it's going to tax him a little bit this week.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I mean, other than like being a dick like Koepka, and it's like no, yes, no, yes,
Yeah.
no. And I don't know him personally, but I mean, you can the difference that the bedside manner that Rory approaches, that type of environment with versus. They already know what they're getting from Koepka. It's like that. No reason to hold back, hammer down. We ain't going to get anything anyway. So, ask away. But yeah, I think
is there any coincidence the worst golf interviewer of our lifetime is the greatest golfer of our lifetime? I mean, Tiger never said anything during an interview, right? He just didn't give it any time or attention because it didn't help his golf in any way, shape, or form. And
yeah, it's not where he's at.
I think Rory's going to suffer from that.
Yeah,
and how deflating too, though, right? So Koepka's now got 5, right? So he surpassed Rory. He finished second in the Masters. He won the PGA. He's won the U.S. Open twice before. So good chances this week with his recent form. He's number 1 or 2 in the world in terms of how he's been playing this year. Could be Player of the Year, paired with Rory and Hideki for the first 2 days. It's like a changing of the guards because number 1, did he save the PGA Tour by winning the PGA? In terms of just bringing that notoriety of, if LIV would have done nothing at the majors, it could have fizzled, right? But because he played so well, he kind of elevated in this year or whatnot. So is now Brooks, as much as he's a horrible interviewer, little commish instead of Rory now?
Oh, he is definitely the savior of the PGA Tour. that is a non-PGA Tour player is the savior of the PGA Tour. I mean, think about how much And I wasn't asking loaded questions earlier, but I think that the reason that we got an announcement last week, I think it was because Brooks Koepka won the PGA Championship. And I think that this may be one of the higher viewed golf championships in maybe history, right? I mean, there's a lot of noise that can be built up around this thing. I mean, warranted or not. I mean, it depends on how big of a golf nerd you are and how much you want to dig into this stuff. But it absolutely feeds into. I mean, there's a ton of good storylines in this thing. But I think that it's there. I mean, it exists, and I think it got created organically, and they took advantage of a situation that. Why wouldn't we show off the U.S. Open? I mean, here we are.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. I'm a fade on McIlroy. So $9,000 range. So let me call out a few people. So Xander's playing Xander. What is he? He's like T18 or better in the last 5 or 6 U.S. Open. So Xander, you got something. Homa course record. I think he took it from Patrick Cantlay. I think it's Max Homa's course record of 61 at LACC. By the way, Steve, did you play with Max Homa when you were there?
I didn't. I think he was 3 years old. No, it wasn't that long ago, but it was. Yeah, it's been a few years since I played, so he might have still been in high school.
All right, 9,300. Colin Morikawa. So I don't know what we're going to do with Colin Morikawa. He withdrew 2 weeks ago from the Memorial from some back spasms. That could just mean I need some more rest, and I want to be rested up for the U.S. Open. He's a California guy, so I think there's probably a little something. There's a narrative there. I don't know if you want to go down that path or not. Putter has not been great, by the way. And, yeah, I mean, you can just line me up everybody in the $9,000 range, and I'll take them. I mean, Jordan Spieth, I think he's had 2 of his best off the tee weeks. In his definitely at the Memorial. So it missed the cut at RBC or at Charles Schwab. Maybe intentional. And T29 at the PGA Championship. So I think Spieth and a previous U.S. Open winner, I think Spieth could get somewhere. Fitzpatrick. So we've already got a win on the season at RBC Heritage. I don't think this is going to play anything like an RBC Heritage. However, I mean, if you've won a U.S. Open, I think there's probably something there. And Cam Smith at $9,000. I mean, don't you have to? I mean, T9 at PGA. Thought he would have done a little better at the Masters. I think I may have picked him as my one and done at the Masters. I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you think about the $9,000 range? I think it's fueled.
Cam Smith said he wasn't practicing enough going into the Masters, and he was caught a little off guard. And then he played well over the PGA. I expect him to do well here, just with his ball striking and what he can do, around the green and putting wise. I think he's definitely a contender here. We're probably going to be overlooked because of what he's done so far year to date. Spieth, another one. I think you hit on it. Ball striking. Look off the tee, 31st, last 24 rounds in this field, 12th on approach and 39 putting. T5 at the Memorial. Yeah, 100%. I'm in on Spieth this week.
Yeah, I like both of them of this group. Fitzpatrick, I don't want to discount, but he seems a little too. If this is a bad word, but robotic for me. Like he's got a way of doing things that he really doesn't stray from, and it served him well last year. But that course is completely different. This to me is an artist's course. You can't have a plan on the first tee and execute that plan the entire round. It can be your base level plan, but you're going to see and encounter things that you need a little more imagination during the round. And I think of this group, Cam Smith and Jordan do that better than anybody, as they can adjust on the fly and have a little more artistry and shape shots a little differently and better around the course as needed.
So would you put Fitzpatrick in kind of that Bryson-y kind of camp of being like, having a plan?
More like Nick Faldo to me, a little more like Nick Faldo. That's who he reminds me of, and a ton of respect for it. And on certain courses, it's fantastic. I just don't think this is the right match for that.
Interesting.
Where was he at in the? Did he not play?
Who?
Augusta? He had to play Augusta. Fitzpatrick was at Augusta, wasn't
he? Yeah, he was definitely there, but I don't see it on the screen here. Yeah, it was before the RBC. It was one before the RBC here. Yeah.
He was 10th at the Masters this year. Okay, so I think it's so. Here's the trigger for me, and trying to be, how conservative can we be if we're going to spend, our $50,000? I think Cam Smith could be a play. I think the off the tee thing could be. It's questionable, right? He is probably going to spray it for sure. But I mean, if it's, depending on how much they close in those fairways, I mean, if they leave them open, I mean, and if they do get it firm and fast, I think that's going to be, it's going to be right there. So, yeah, I think it's Cam for me and Spieth. All right. $8,000. Let me throw a few out. Give me a yes or no, and then you guys can trade off on who you want to talk about. $8,000 range. Terrell Hatton.
Yes.
No.
Ooh, Tony Finau.
No.
No.
Oh my God. I do have some comments about Finau. JT.
No.
No.
Right. You think this play? I haven't played Southern Hills. Do you think this is going to be anything like what we saw at Southern Hills, Steve?
I think it's very different. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I haven't played it, but from what I saw on television, it's very different.
Yeah. Hideki.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So we're all in agreement there. Me too. Lowry.
No.
Huh.
I'm a little. I'm give me Lowry at like a T20.
You always throw the statistics out the window with him. It's like if he has these weeks where he just comes out of nowhere. He doesn't look good on the screen, does he?
Well, he's another one.
Things I told you were important.
If the putter gets hot, I think he's there, right? I mean, it's just going to be dependent. So
yeah, it would be a surprise, I think, but I never can. He always surprises me when he and it's typically in a major tournament or a big tournament.
Do you want me to answer the Sungjae before you guys do? Or
yeah, go ahead. Answer the Sungjae.
No, thank you.
No,
I'll be passing.
I'm off the train. The train.
Which is, I mean, look at it as last five, right? I mean, then go back to the ladder. I mean, you got T7 RBC Heritage, T8 at Wells Fargo, both vastly different courses, and then cut and T41 at Memorial. I don't know what's going on there, but the ball striker that he was, something's off there. I don't know. Maybe it's a swing change thing. I have no idea, but something's off. Okay. This may be let's see. We only got a few more. We're fine. What are we going to do with the dashboard man in DJ Johnson? And Ben, hold on. Before you answer this, do you guys know what sits behind the 6th hole at LA?
It's 14. It's
14. 14. Sorry. 14.
Unless you saw when the 9s were reversed, but yeah, it's 14.
Okay, 14. What sits behind 14 at LA Country Club? And I'm not saying there's a lot of blow that happens at that place, but I don't. Is Gretzky going to be bulldogging this guy the entire trip? I mean, LA, like we got the Viper Room. We got a lot of things going down in LA, man. I mean, we are at the corner of Wilshire and Sunset, right? Or at the intersection of Wilshire and Sunset. There's been a lot of names that have not fared well there.
True. It's a good point.
Where are we going with Dusty?
Nope.
Yeah, I just haven't seen the consistent 4 rounds of form from him in quite a while.
Yeah,
Flashes it.
Yeah, I'm with you. You know, there's the T48 at Augusta, which he's obviously a winner at. You know, that's kind of a staple for me going into the year. Like if that's your place, I mean, look at Phil, right? At T2. I mean, if that's your place, man. I mean, that kind of sets the stage for you for the year, which may have just I got to rethink my one and done now, because that may have done in my Cam Smith one and done bet there. So and it definitely undone my DJ bet. All right. So the last 3 guys, Sam Burns, in or out?
No.
Yeah, I'm out too. Jason Day.
I kind of want to, but
And this is squirrely, man.
Yeah, rough there.
It sure looks like an anomaly in the middle of all that.
Yeah,
doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it does. I mean, he's played well at US Opens before, so you know there's something there, but I don't know that I can get there. I mean, I guess from a DraftKings perspective, I would just be looking at ownership, but I can't do it. Here's it. So talking about an anomaly, what about Cam Young? In or out?
Nope.
No.
Yeah, me either. Yeah, I'm not there either. Can't do it. Anybody that you want to call out specifically in the $8,000 range?
That was just Hideki.
Yeah, Hideki.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, and I like Hatton too. I like Hatton too, but everybody liked Hideki. Yep.
I can't.
What's your thoughts on Hatton?
Oh, I think it's
just all the tools.
I mean, the game is, so you mentioned this about Rahm earlier.
Yeah.
So I think that the frustrating thing might be if he gets in trouble here, based on what I've seen and what I've heard, that could lead to his detriment. Making the cut, absolutely.
For sure.
Which probably means he's not going to, but he ranks out second in this model. So, I mean, I think we're probably in a good spot with Hatton. And I think if you've got Hatton left in a one and done, I think it's a play. I think he's a DraftKings play. I mean, he's projected at 16% ownership now. So it's, and he's finished his last 5 tournaments. He's T15 or better. Yeah. I mean, I think everything's kind of, it's kind of like the Hovland mentality, right? I mean, everything is kind of hitting on all cylinders. It's just, it's golf, right? And you gotta get some breaks. And I don't know that he wills himself a lot of breaks. So, but I like Hatton, and I think it's a play all the way around. I like Hideki. I think that one's solid. Who else am I into down here? I don't know, $8,000 range. Oof. I mean, JT might be a DraftKings play for me just because I don't think he's going to win. Could I see him T5? Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Just kind of, I mean, no matter, he's a good golfer, but I'll probably go for
bad major year though, like T65 PGA, missed the cut at the Masters.
Missed the cut at the Masters. I'm with you. I see it. So yeah, we're better off probably to spend our money in the $7,000 range. Are you good with this in or out game? You like that?
Yeah.
Tony Fleetwood.
Yeah,
oh, wait a minute. Tommy Fleetwood actually showing up to this tournament. He left Tony in Canada.
I like him.
I do too. I like the rebound story.
So do I. And I could actually see I mean, off the tees, perfectly good, fine. Approach is good. I mean, are we going to be able to hit, excluding the par threes? Do you think people are do you think the players are going to be hitting iron off the tee?
There's some shorter par fours that position is way more important than distance.
You think Tony Fleetwood's new caddy is going to recommend iron off the tee? You don't have to answer that. That's okay. I'm not going to answer you. I won't force you to answer the Tom Kim story. I maybe we'll see a resurgence, but
no.
Yeah,
he read his own clippings for a while. So he's got to get back to reality.
Yeah, I'm there. Corey Connors.
He does well at majors. I can see it.
I think it's interesting play.
Yeah, he's pretty consistent off the tee. It's it's the yellows at the bottom that are a little concerning, but boy, he does play good in tougher tournaments.
He does.
What do you see?
Good temperament. Like that's why I keep dwelling on temperament, and he's even keeled.
I like Connor. So here we go. So now we're getting into another live guy. With this, is this our first live guy since
DJ
Brooks, right?
DJ.
Oh no, we had
Brooks
DJ.
and
We had
DJ,
DJ.
yeah.
And Cam Smith.
Well, is this the first live guy that we're in on since we started?
Yeah.
Other than Brooks,
I'm in on him. Yeah.
I think Neiman's a play.
Didn't he win Riv a couple of years ago?
He did. Yeah.
So
I think Neiman's a go, man. I mean, I think it works.
Yeah, maybe.
Rosie?
Yeah.
He's playing good lately. Playing really good.
And he's contended at US Opens before. I don't know that he's won.
He's won one. Yeah, he won
Where do you win?
He won the one where Phil almost won. Wait, that's every US Open. Never mind.
We're not in the $6,000. We're not in the $6,000 range yet, Steve. Hold on.
Doesn't have the flags on the course. It's got the little baskets. What was that?
I know. I'm fine. I got it. Don't worry. Don't worry. And we're talking US Justin Rose, right?
Yeah. He won. It was like
Marion.
Yeah.
And by the way, this is noted as a comp to Marion. So there could be something there.
I could see that. I of all the comps we've talked about, that's probably the closest one in my recollection.
So
I think he's a good play.
So do I. I think it's a solid play. I mean, so does 17% of the people that are going to be playing in this. So, but I mean, rightfully so. Who else? And just below it. Well, let's just stop here and talk about this for a minute or so. Steve, I mean, you had a little outburst there. You want to share your thoughts?
It's just funny the emotion he brings to people whenever his name is shown. I actually, whatever I thought about him before, seeing him stick around and congratulate Brooks, he went up a little bit in my mind. I thought that was very classy. So I give him credit for that. I don't know if these statistics are telling or not. He played pretty good at the PGA. I mean, I was watching him control his ball better. The slim down version, I think, is he's just got a little more finesse to his game than pure power. But boy, I mean, I look at these things, all these red lines, and I can't make. If he does that, he can't win at LACC. That's for sure.
You know, but weird enough, I mean, he was Memorial Park where he contended. Did he lose in a playoff, or I mean, he was close to, if not. Which was a US Open in 20, it was the COVID year. I'll find it out, but I think there's a chance.
That's a Harding Park?
Harding Park, excuse me.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Harding Park. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. That's the one Morikawa won. That was a PGA, right?
Yep.
PGA Championship. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's when Brooks said he didn't know anybody on the leaderboard.
Yeah, that's when the little downfall of Brooks started flying. Yeah, it's hard to get behind Bryson yet. I think we got to see a little consistent performance from him for a while before you can count on him on a competition like this one.
Disagree. I'm on.
Good. I love it. I love when we disagree. That's more
I'm
fun
on.
when we agree.
I'm on Bryson on this one. I like it. I like the T4 at the PGA Championship. I think the ball striking looked better than probably it has in quite some time. So, I mean, he's gaining strokes. So yeah, that's a play for me. All right, $7,000 range finishing this out. So Keegan Bradley.
No.
Mm-mm. I don't know that I agree with you. Not to win, but I'm saying I think he could be a play for me. Sahith, are we going? Everybody's on the Sahith train. Well, not by ownership standpoints, but I'm out on Sahith on this one. What about you guys?
Out.
Out.
All right. Model rank 10.
I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah.
Bucky. How we feel about Bucky?
I'm in.
I'm feeling good.
Yep.
Are we feeling good enough that we're gonna let's see, where's Bucky at? God, Phil Mickelson is plus 5,500. Are we feeling good enough about Bucky that we're gonna go there?
Yeah.
I think so too. I'm in. I'm totally sold. Everybody that I've talked to over the past 3 or 4 days, which has been you guys. There's actually been more, but everybody that I've talked to, it's like yes. I don't know that it's his time to win, but I mean it's worth the gamble. I mean T9, T6, he did miss a cut of the PGA. I think there's probably something there. I think it's a play. I think ownership levels maybe a little high for if it's 17% right now. I don't know. We'll see. Wyndham Clark.
No.
No.
I don't know. I'm torn on that one. I'll just go with the team. Ooh, here we go.
Yeah. I'm in.
How about another shrimp on the barbie, mates?
I'm in.
Huh.
Adam Scott.
I'm not feeling it, but Dan was so emphatic on that one.
I think he's been playing really
I'm
good.
Absolutely in on. Yes,
Yeah.
I'm all the way in on Scott. I think this is. I mean, so again, the comps between Riviera and LACC have been like, maybe not. But I think there's and Scott's played well, and he's been playing well. I think Scott's a play for sure. And just below him, yes, if you're listening, if you've made it this far into the show, you couldn't make it on prior to. I understand. Maybe there was somebody who said that they were golfing and boozing. Let's post US Open. Patrick Reed is actually a bet for me, and I've already bet him. And so here's the interesting part, right? I mean, think of it. If Augusta really is a comp, of which Patrick Reed is one, he owns a green jacket. I think there's something to be said for the wind is not going to get crazy there, right? I mean, it's not going to be windy and breezy. It's going to be more
it shouldn't. There's one chance of wind is that's like an abrupt weather change, but like where summer just explodes onto us all at one time, and we get this kind of influx of reverse wind from the desert. But I don't think so. I don't think there'll be a big wind in the next few weeks.
Would you call it a June bloom is what's happening?
Well, that's what we're under. We're under right now is June gloom, which is a little bit of a gray period here in Southern California. As the middle of California heats up, the coastal areas kind of get a little foggy here. That could last through the whole tournament, or it could end abruptly. And when it ends, there's usually a little wind that comes with it, but it's not like a persistent, multiple day windy weather. So I don't think they're going to have to deal with a lot of wind.
But I mean, from a scrambling perspective, and Patrick Reed, not known for necessarily, getting it off the tee. Known, I mean, he manages the greens at Augusta just fine. And I mean, if he's got to scramble out of the rough, I mean, I think P. Reed and team have a little something to be. Yeah, I like it. Anybody else? Anybody in the $7,000 range? I can tell you who I'm not going for. And I don't mean I'm not pulling for him. I just think that they're probably Brooks Koepka mentality. Ain't that you're getting tossed to the side. Abe Answer, I haven't seen a lot out of him, and I'm probably a fade on names that you would know. Nick Taylor, after winning the RBC Canada, I mean, are we going to follow it up with just a stellar performance?
Can't imagine.
Nor can I. I mean, because that's a.
Oh, there's your boy. You're about to scroll by your favorite. Hold on.
Oh, there he is. There he is. Really ho.
Somebody else can ask the question.
No, I just didn't want you to scroll by without making a little comment.
That's no chance in hell that I'm
okay.
No.
That's all I needed to hear.
Absolutely.
Now my afternoon is complete.
Absolutely not. Ain't no chance. What the band say? Ain't no mountain high enough. Yeah. No, I'm completely out. I was a little. It was interesting to see, especially at this price range with Keith Mitchell. He missed a cut at RBC last week. I mean, maybe I don't want to say it was intentional, but maybe last week was a little bit of a warm up and he shows up. Where I would go is a little farther south. I think Siwoo Kim. Well, I'm asking you guys, I guess, and I'm commenting, but Siwoo Kim.
No.
And I haven't seen him on a tough course play really well.
Fair. All right.
How about Chris Kirk? That. Let's take a look at Chris Kirk.
What's the price?
71.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
No, just was curious. It's the temperament. I know he's one of those guys that his pulse never seems to change a bit, but the putting's a little scary, and the approach shot, which I talked about being so important. So I just wanted to see him. I saw him flash by, but I didn't see his statistics.
At 7,100, I'm probably going. This is going to be weird. Russell Henley. And I mean, he's playing pretty good.
He is playing well.
Yeah.
We've got a pair of T16s. We got a missed cut, and we got a T4 at the Masters.
Yeah.
So back to, if there's any correlation with the Masters and Russell Henley at, sub 10% ownership, maybe sub 9, I think that's probably a direction that I'm going to kind of gravitate towards.
Yeah, I think in the bottom half, I think that's the guy. Yeah. Bottom half of the sevens. Yeah.
Hold on. Do you want to talk about Billy Horschel again?
No, I want you to drink more and then talk about Billy Horschel.
All right. I gotta get to it. I gotta get to the Model 15 rank guy. Salary $7,200. No, but seriously, like, who do you play with? Somebody, no names mentioned. Do you all play with somebody that's so annoying that you're like, I just can't play golf with that person? Like, I can't, because of their mannerisms or their slow play. It could be a Horschel, it could be a Cantlay, it could be a Rahm. So you've got Horschel, just these crazy things that are going on, and like that lean into the putter, the step into the putter, and he ain't even a good fucking putter. Okay, it's not a good fucking putter. So, but the lean into the putter it's beyond me. The Rahm? Do you play with a hothead that's like, I don't want to play with that guy anymore, I might get beat up? Who else is bad? Oh, Nick. No, it's not Nick. Nate Watney. Have you ever watched Nate Watney play golf?
Nick Watney.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I was thinking
a while.
I had the Lashley and the Watney mix. Yeah, but Nick Watney. Oh no, that guy is like, I mean,
Keegan's a little jittery too.
Keegan's
right?
a little
Keegan's a little jittery. Yeah,
Keegan's a little catchy.
But he
Bubba?
seems like a good guy. He seems like a really good guy. So I think you can get. Yeah, it's funny. I play with a group that I've tended to weed out all of those types of my own. They may think I'm that guy, and I probably am the guy that they don't want to play with. But the group, it's like 10 or 12 of us that we send a text out, and hopefully at least 8 show up on Saturday. But there's a bigger group that everyone always says, it's like a money game. They're like, you got to come play in this one. And of that group, let's say it's 20 or 25, I adore 90% of them, but there's 2 or 3 that have those characteristics. So, and I think it's a ball toss or a random thing. It's like, yeah, the chances are, 1 out of every 3 weeks, I'm going to get with one of those, and it's just not worth it. It's my Saturday. I'm not going to do it. So I've over the years, and I'm much older than you, I've made it a point not to play with
don't go bragging again.
Not to play with people that I don't enjoy the 4 hours with. It's or if you're playing it sweetens the 12 hours with.
I was about to say, are you playing 4-hour rounds of golf out in California?
3 hours and 35 minutes.
Wow.
You're at a club. You're at a club though, right?
Yeah, I'm at a club.
Yeah.
But I definitely am going to join you for the 45-hole day someday.
That'll be in the end of September. I'll send you some dates, and I got a spot to say, and we'll talk about that. But
awesome.
Yeah, it should be good crowd of people. If you show up there happy and you leave like you didn't have a good time, yeah, that's your own fault.
For sure.
That's your own fault. $7,000. Are we done? Are we cooked here? Dan,
Now,
did we leave
from
any-
DFS perspective, what about Denny McCarthy and Harris English?
I'm out on Harris. I'm in on Denny. I mean, he's a putting machine, man. I mean it's. I mean, if the greens are going to be big, or, I'm sorry, the fairways are going to be big. The greens are big. I mean, I think Denny's there. I mean, the ownership looks good. I think Denny's a play. His second at the Memorial, not an easy golf course. Wells Fargo, not an easy golf course, big and long. I think there's something on Denny. Harris, I don't know. Who did we play last week? We played Snedeker. Also, friend of the show, friend of the cove, and that didn't go as
we
planned.
love him. It just was rough.
We do love him.
Yeah,
we were trying to get in on it early, get in early, but that didn't really happen.
Yes, I played Colonial where the Charles Schwab was in March for the first time, and I was there for a couple days. And there's a little bit of a vibe there that's similar to LACC.
Ooh, nice.
And I watched Harris fold there. It was weird. He was playing good, and then as the pressure got tighter, he kind of got tenser and
folded up a little bit.
Yeah. So that doesn't give me a lot of positivity on him heading in this one. Colonial's it's an older country club, but it's got a similar vibe, clubhouse vibe. The course is a little more rustic, like LACC is, and there's not a barranca, but there's some dry riverbeds running through it, and some actual rivers with water running through it. But yeah, that tournament was fun because I'd just been there a couple months ago, so I watched a lot, like every minute of it. And the first couple rounds he was looking so good, and then the last couple rounds not. So it doesn't bode well for this one.
Outside of like major conditions, because Colonial doesn't do that. But which one do you think is harder? On a daily basis, outside of like tournament conditions.
Man, Colonial surprised me with how difficult it was, even though everything is right in front of you. Like, I think the difference is as you stand on the tees at LACC, you don't see the whole hole playing out as easily as you do at Colonial. They're probably equivalent. I'd say on a day-to-day basis, Colonial is a little harder. I think they can make LACC harder, and I think they will.
Yeah.
But what surprised me about Colonial was how it looked easy, but it wasn't. Where LACC, the look and the difficulty kind of matched themselves visually. The difference at Colonial was this hole shouldn't be a problem. Oh my God, this hole's a problem.
Sounds like a PB die kind of thing there, Cal.
Well, I think my index is 8. My index is eight.
VD. Yeah.
Yes, between high sevens and mid eights is my index, and that makes me a 9 or a 10 at my club. I was a 14 at Colonial, so
Wow.
it tells you how hard that place was.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. By the way, I may have just booked my 2024 trip to Bandon Dunes. Just saying.
Oh,
Wow.
nice.
Just
Wow.
But I mean, it's actually confirmed. I'm getting a link earlier, so in case you haven't played Bandon, you should. And we're not sponsored by them, but we will be by the time I leave the next time. All right, so I got a couple more names, and we got to wrap this up because I want to
leave or kicked out.
I want to have. It depends on how many words you want to use. Are you using the bot and the AI, or what are you? So I'm going to throw a few out. Eric Cole. Eric Cole is in my list. I don't know that he's going to win T5. I'll take him. He's in. Your opinions on Phil Mickelson?
No.
What?
No.
He's a California guy. So
Yeah.
you're out on Philly.
Yep.
Must have been that fallen brand lawsuit. Did y'all see that?
Yeah.
No, I didn't see that.
So I think it's a California. It's a skater kind of shoe company, but the brand, not the brand, the logo of like the two F's.
Yeah.
Or for Phil's team, it is the Fallen brand. Here's my speculation on this, and you can mark the. Ooh, hold on, somebody's refilling. I might as well go ahead and refill. If we got to go or take a break, you let me know, Steve. Here's where I'm at. I think Fallen brand it's an upscale version of Vans. You know what Vans are?
Yep.
Or CVs, right? So I think it's like a uptick or it's a boutique version of Vans. And Phil's label for his LIV team logo, the logo, sorry, is, I mean, it said they sued them for, it could be, no, it's exactly the same logo. So what I heard, I mean, I'm interpreting this as Phil just bought a shoe company.
Exactly.
I mean, it's exactly the same logo.
Huh.
let me see if I can pull it. I don't know. Dan, do you want to pull it up, or do you want me to?
So that's why you think he's not going to play well?
No, I think he's going to play very well.
Oh, so Dan and I don't think he's going to play well because he hasn't been playing well for a while.
Yeah,
other than the Masters, which is set up perfectly for him.
That's his playground. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but other than that, he hasn't been hitting his drives well. His approach shots haven't been that good. I don't know. This doesn't seem like a good time for him.
I can't. I've got too much stuff open. I can't.
I got it, Cal. I got it.
There. Squirrely stuff opened over here. I mean, things that we'll have to delete all this, and we don't want to.
Exactly. Yep.
Pop up.
I mean, let's just say that Birdies and Bourbon wanted to do a Filmland Spirits logo.
Well, there's 2 millimeter space on the Fallen, and there's 3 millimeters on.
I mean, arguably, yes. That's a.
Yeah.
I think I'm not an attorney, and I'm not asking you to be, and you don't have to pass judgment, but I think that's a squirrely move right there.
Yeah. Leave it to Phil.
Maybe that's why they made the merger. All right. So you're out on Phil. What Sergio? We going Sergio?
No,
I'd like to though. He really is. I think it's a good story.
What about Eckroat? I mean, that's a $7,000 under 7% owned right now. I mean, he's played. I mean, for that price. I mean, if you got to get somewhere, and it could be a thing. You guys out?
Yep, out.
I don't know enough about. Can't recall seeing him play golf, so I can't say anything.
All right. Minwoo. What about Minwoo?
No,
I'm out. I'm out.
I'm out. No.
Yeah.
All
This is
right.
like this has become Shark Tank now.
$6,000 range. What about the tackler, Adam Hadwin? We playing Adam? Or are we steering clear?
Not with that shoulder.
Is he on IR this week?
That's right. That's right.
He does play good. He does play good at tough courses.
He does. I'm probably leaning more towards maybe a Patrick Rogers is probably a play for me.
For DFS.
Yeah, for sure. Hayden Buckley, maybe. I mean, from an ownership perspective, I mean, that could be a thing. Jordan Smith, no, thank you. That's been. I'll just take my medicine if he shows up in T10s. I don't think it's going to happen. Who else is down here? Svensson. I don't know. I mean, that could be a look, but I mean, he hasn't played well in the past two tournaments, but prior to, and T40 at PGA Championship, maybe. Anybody in the $6,000 range that you guys?
Well, Shank's been playing good everywhere he's been the last couple of weeks, but boy, look at before that.
Yeah, I'm kind of in on Shank. If I had to pick somebody down here, I think I'd go towards Shank. Yeah,
I'm surprised.
And look at the ownership.
The ownership is. I think that's the play down here.
Yeah,
he played very well at Colonial.
All right.
Yeah.
One more. Let's find another six. Who do we like in the $6,000 range that we're going to go with? I'm out on Mac Hughes. I think this sucked a lot of wind out of the Canadians, even though it's like a big win for the Canadians to have a Canadian win.
That's way too low now. Yeah.
I mean, oddly enough, like Padraig Harrington could make the cut, and he's at $6,600. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
No.
Really? Yeah, he's from that non-imaginative vein that I talked about earlier. I don't think so. I don't see him making the cut.
No, you think he's missing it?
I think he's too regimented.
Yeah.
All right.
Huh.
Fair enough.
I don't see anybody down here, Cal. Let's do a lineup.
We're not going to have to get down there, so it'll be fine. All right. Where are we heading?
Who do we all love? We all loved Hideki. Start there.
You got to give me a minute. You're pulling down my internet juice over here. I've got lineups in. I mean, are we going to steer clear? We'll find out, right? Once we get to the top. All right. So we got to go. Well, we don't have to go, but here's where I think we're heading so I'm with you on Hideki. I think that's, this thing screams Hideki. I think Adam Scott's a play.
Of course you do.
Throw another shrimp on the bobby.
Right.
Adam had when his shoulders are sore, so we're gonna get away from that guy. Steve, you liked Hatton, right?
No,
he didn't. He
was
he
Dan.
didn't. I liked Hatton.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, hold on. Don't go Hatton yet. Let's stay in the middle of the road here. Who'd you
like Fowler?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Fowler. Yeah.
Fowler was unanimous, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Fowler for sure. Hold on. Are we Fleetwooding or are we not?
Yeah.
Fleetwooding.
Yeah.
Tony Fleetwood?
Steve, right?
Steve?
We all had a good vibe on Fleetwood. I remember that. Yeah.
Right.
We all like the bounce back, but is it wishful thinking or is it logic based?
He's been playing
I think
well.
some of the other ones were logic based. That one was wishful thinking.
No, he's been playing pretty good.
No.
Two, missed the
Fleetwood's
cut,
solid,
18th, 5th, 15th. Yeah, he's been playing good. All green. Model rank
Yeah,
fifth.
it's can he get? Do we think he can bounce back mentally in
Oh,
a few
for sure.
days?
No, I mean, he's bounced back tournament after tournament after
Yeah.
tournament after. He keeps showing up to all these tournaments that he knows that he had.
Yeah.
Even if he has a chance to win it, he's going to lose it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's exactly right.
I mean,
So,
it's-
Steve,
Oh,
you
yes.
said, like
Yeah.
Rory always is trying to say the right thing. Fleetwood always knows he's going to lose.
But I'm showing
All
up
right.
because
Yeah.
second place pays pretty good.
Pays a
too.
lot. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's got all the tools for this course. That's for sure. There's no
So-
doubt. Yeah.
So a couple of guys, how do we feel about, I feel good about it. What Patrick Reed? Don't put your political views aside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you were talking him up, all the examples you gave, his game was in a completely different place than it seems to be now. He was on fire around the greens back then. His approach shots were always within 15 feet of the pin, it seemed like, and I just haven't seen that out of him lately. But I haven't, I don't see him play much. It's only only in the two majors, right? So but I just didn't see that precision. There was a time there where if he was sitting in the middle of the fairway, his only problem was off the tee. If he was in the middle of the fairway, man, he'd hit that nice little draw right towards the pin, and it seemed like automatic, but it didn't seem like that at the Masters or the PGA. So I don't know.
Those are good points.
Hold on,
Okay.
you're saying you don't like T4 at the Masters this year? From a previous
it wasn't that I didn't like it. It was that the way he got there was different than I'd seen him play in the past.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. Yeah.
It was his short game that got him there. It wasn't his approach shots.
All right. Fair enough. I can agree on this. We're good. I do have him played. I've been sprinkled around in plenty of other lineups. Where are we going, Dan?
So if we're not going to do Reed, are we doing Reed on this one or not? We can do
I was
him.
given my counterpoint, but it doesn't mean it should stop you.
No.
We'll
Well,
do Reed. It's fine.
What about Neiman?
So do you take Neiman or Rose?
I think we can do both. I think let's take Rose. Well, I don't know, Steve. What do you think? How do you feel about Rose?
I think Rose is definitely on the upside.
Yeah, I think Rose is on the upside.
No. Well, there's only one answer left.
Yeah.
That Rose is in, and there's one answer left.
Reed.
Well, no. At this point,
Brooksy.
Yeah, we got to pick
Oh.
Koepka. We can get
Oh,
Koepka,
yeah.
Cantlay, or Hovland. Koepka, Cantlay, or Hovland.
Koepka.
Who you taking?
Koepka.
I would take Koepka.
I'm taking Koepka too. All right. Picks to win. Oh, by the way,
Steve's kind of biased on Koepka. He's kind of got the similar kind of name. Canepa.
Well, my name has been butchered so many times. I guarantee I've been called Koepka before. There's no doubt about it.
hold on. I think I've said it right every
You've
time.
been
Now,
I complimented.
qualified.
I complimented you the very first time you said it because you did it perfect.
There's
My
not a lot of
daughter had her graduation awards ceremony. She won a few awards, and they added letters. There was an M inserted in there, Camapena. There was like 8 syllables added to it, but you've nailed it every time, Cal. Every time.
Well, I'm not completely illiterate. I just if it's not in hillbilly, it's a hard struggle for me. So, all right. So here's where we got to go. Do you have any bets lined up, Steve, or do you have any best bets, or do we just want to go straight to one and done?
I don't. Yeah, I do whatever you tell me to do. You're my betting guy, guru.
All right.
So
we'll do. So by the way, I do think Scottie Scheffler at like 750 on a first round leader. That's a bet for me. That may have already happened. I did bet Max Homa like a year ago.
When do the tee times come out?
They're out.
First round leader is going to probably.
Oh,
They're in
Dan,
the morning?
share the times. No,
Okay.
they're out. They're out.
Yep.
Oh.
All right. Hold on.
Is
I'll
he,
get him.
I bet the leader comes from the morning.
Okay.
What's the temperature in the morning when you wake up there?
55 to 60. Yeah. High 50s and low 60s.
Yeah.
But it's the greens will get bumpy in the afternoon. That's the difference.
And fast. Yeah.
It's on the round one. I don't think the speed will change much in the early rounds, maybe by the weekend. But
they'll
on
just
those
get bumpy.
the first 2 days, the afternoon rounds are going to have to deal with the bumps in the green.
This is so good having this insight onto this golf course, man. I love it. Did you find it?
Right. Yep.
Here you go.
So let's see.
You got to get deep.
I'm looking.
Real
Mm.
deep.
Well, Tommy's in the morning.
Tommy's in the morning. Yep.
There's a possible first round leader.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
Sean Lowry. Did you hear that? Him get
Adam Scott's in the morning.
Adam Scott.
That could be a leader too. Man.
Scotty's in the morning. Yeah.
Scotty's in the morning. McCarthy. Dan McCarthy. He could be the first one. He could get hot with that putter.
Ooh, if he does, that's a good play. I like that.
So okay, there's where your plays are then, huh? Scotty, you're yeah. Good.
All right. So we got to pick a winner. We don't have to pick a winner. We just got to pick who we think's gonna be the winner.
Yeah. Steve, you want to go first since you got the most tribal knowledge?
Of course he does.
I think it's going to be Brooks.
Oh, I like this.
This could be
my one and done. That's my one and done, Cal.
This could be a trifecta.
I think the reason is the comeback story it seems complete in everyone's mind because he kind of stumbled at the Masters and then redeemed himself at the PGA. But I think his true comeback story is becoming the player of the year this year. And if you guys remember on one of the earlier podcasts, I don't think it was a golf one. I think it was a whiskey one. And towards the end of it, we started talking golf and we talked about who would be the player of the year. And we've all said at that time it was Rahm, but someone could jump up and grab it from him. And what they'd have to do is win 2 majors. I think Brooks's full year, I don't think he could win a British Open or Open Championship right now, maybe in the future, but winning 2 majors, I think his full comeback story is I'm player of the year, not Jon Rahm.
Wow. It's good.
I'm not shaking my head as no. I'm shaking my head as yes, and I can't believe it because also my pick for the win this week is Brooks.
I'm Scott.
Brooks Koepka.
When we agree, I fill up my glass. Every time we agree, I'll fill up my glass.
I don't know. I mean, it's gonna happen. Like I can't see. Well, I mean, it's a mixed bag, but that dude wants to win it, and I think big sip. But it's gonna. I think it kind of has to happen. I mean, it's a golf course. The way that you've seen him play on other golf courses, and this golf course kind of feeds right into exactly what he's going to do. I mean, there's outside of like, just whiffing on putts, I mean, he should be able to take care of this thing.
There's been no better major player in the last decade, right, than Brooks Koepka, right? He loves a hard golf course, loves being in the spotlight. We're in LA, La La Land. I think it's all lined up, and he's healthy, which is huge.
And his putting stroke looks so good right now. When he's had his eras where it was on fire, and then there was a little bit of a sketchiness to it, but man, it looks solid as a rock right now. He sets up weird, and I think he sets up with the ball on the toe a little bit, but then with the backstroke, and he hits the middle of the club face every single time. Those down low views, I always cringe at the setup, but when the club comes through, it looks solid as a rock.
Hey,
Yeah.
let me just say, Dan, before you pick your guy,
I already picked my guy.
who'd you pick?
I picked Brooks. Told you he's my one and done.
God, this is a lame show.
So
we
lame.
all picked the same fucking guy.
I told you I picked him before you picked him.
This is lame. It's this lame. we can't do it. Here's what I would say. The other guy that I would have picked would have been Bryson DeChambeau, because I think Bryson also stands to do this. I'm not going to. I'm going to play Brooks Koepka, and I think he is going to drive home exactly what he intended to drive home. So.
Cal, I gotta show you a screen real quick. Does this change your mind at all?
No, I haven't seen the screen yet, but it probably doesn't. I don't know what it Brooks Koepka, West Palm. Well, I mean, I see Billy Horschel, but he ain't playing with him. Hideki, Rory.
He's playing in front of him. He's gonna watch that crap. Oh, he's gonna watch that crap.
Shit.
Oh no!
Hold on.
So
Hold on.
he's not your first
Hold
round
on.
leader, Ben.
Hold on. Shit. All right. So basically, what they've strategically placed Billy Horschel in front of Brooks Koepka to slow play him instead of in the fourth and final round. They're going to slow play him throughout the tournament.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Jesus Christ. I don't think Hideki's
on Friday. Is he'll be in front of him on Friday too?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They don't switch the order like.
I think they just flop. They just flip them. I think
they just flip the whole morning afternoon, but they don't go like that way too within the morning and afternoon.
I don't think so.
I can't recall. I mean, it's a great pairing though. He and Rory, I think, are great together, with a mutual respect and appreciation of each other's game. And Hideki's, it looks like always easy to play. So at least within his group, he'll have a good time. But
as long as Hideki doesn't bring out any whiteout to the range.
Is Horschel slow player? I don't recall that. Is he?
He's
or is he just
slow.
mannerisms?
He's horrible. It's horrible. He's
a lot of
worse
interaction with the caddy.
He's worse. No, it's all him, and he's worse than Cantlay. He's horrible. I mean, he's got these mannerisms and these things and the stuff that
he's Steve just proud cow.
Well, I got the third drink in him, so.
By the way, friend of the show, Steve Canepa, Filmland Spirits. We're not going anywhere yet, Steve. We're not done unless you need to be done.
Yeah. I do not need to be done.
We were just letting you know that we were actually drinking.
Yeah.
And
I decided not to have Filmland stuff behind me and all that. Just so you know, guys, I'm in it for you, not my company. It's pure respect and love, not a commercial plug.
Well,
Nice.
and
plug in Birdies and Bourbon today because
that's right.
My spirit, yeah.
Looking good.
For those of you that are not watching, I mean, he's got a shirt on, and I don't. He should have had booze by now, but I'll talk to Rocket about that. But it'll be fine. All right, so we got our one and dones in, all the same. We've got our lineups in. What are you looking forward to, Steve? So, well, hold on. Let's wrap up on. We've been going. Are you going to show up for the next one, Steve?
Yes.
Okay.
For sure.
All right.
Yeah,
well, here
sure.
we go. So anything else on the US Open?
I think that there's going to be some amazing drone footage and blimp coverage that people will be shocked when they figure out where this course is located.
When you say blimp,
the
blimp, what are
blimp.
you talking about? What are you talking about?
That thing that floats in the air and takes pictures from the fact that the city grew up around this little oasis in the middle of it. And it contrary to what people believe, you'll see some tall buildings around it. That's not Los Angeles. That's Century City, kind of Beverly Hills area. But there's definitely part of the course where if it's clear, you can see downtown. But where you see this course and then all around it, just a concrete jungle, it's going to be cool for people who aren't from here to see those kind of angles. And then the pictures from the course, when we get up to the hill by the 14th tee box, the highest point of the course, which happens to have a famous place to the right of it that people may have heard of. I think that's the tallest point on the course, and the view looking down on that is spectacular. So there's going to be some really cool visuals for people not familiar. There hasn't been a major in LA for 70-something years, right? It's been a long time.
It's been a long time, man. Yeah, over 60 is what I read, but yeah. I mean, over 70 could be, absolutely correct.
Was it Riv? The last one was at Riv?
I think so. Yeah.
A PGA. And maybe it was, not as long ago as I thought. Maybe US Open's been a long time. Yeah.
Yeah. Never at LACC. So yeah, that's, it's going to get. So how close are you to this course?
About 40 miles. I live in a place called Thousand Oaks, which is like northwest of proper Los Angeles.
Don't give your address. People might like me.
If they set it up the right way, they'd be welcome.
I'm setting. That was
You're always welcome.
That was a hint. That was a hint. And yeah, we got to get you down to member. It sweetens. Could be a thing.
Yeah, I gotta see that place and live and in person rather than just watching it on YouTube clips.
No, I'm sorry, member guest. Excuse me.
Yeah.
I'm playing the member this weekend.
I speak 3 drinks in. Don't worry. I have that language. I'm fluent in 3 drinks in.
Don't mind Cal. He's just a drunk piano player.
I'm selling it. Whoa. What are you speaking over there? All right. What else do we have? As a guy that's into booze, so you commented a little bit on. Hold on. Let's stay with golf.
Okay.
Forecasts and current temperature on golf in general.
I heard something very interesting. I think it was during some of the news clips of the combination here, but that the majority of hours of golf being played now are being played at places like Top Golf and golf ranges versus golf courses.
Yep.
And I had never in a million years have thought of that concept as, I don't know how they measured in terms of time spent or balls hit or whatever, but that more people are playing golf at the fun golf places, music and food and booze and all that stuff, than actual golf courses, which to me is the next evolution. Is golf will become more of like a bowling thing versus a stoic button up your shirt, everyone be quiet thing, and it'll attract a wider audience. I think that's kind of what's coming. I think the combination of these two tours philosophies is a beginning of that.
It's interesting because when you come to play Sweetens at the member guest tournament, you will not have to wear. We can wear t-shirts if you want to. And no, but I will tell you, the pro there, Madamsky, he'll be in a t-shirt for sure.
Nice.
And nobody cares. And it's like, hey, we're gonna play around you right now. And we'll play this whole when it comes to, and we'll just move around. Yeah, it's a interesting thing that's happening, but yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
So we have. What's coming up? Dan, pull this out.
Well, nope. It's going to be a fun week in LA at the US Open. I echo Steve's thoughts on golf in general. Cal and I were talking last week about, most popular sports in the world. Goes soccer and then goes basketball. Very easy to play those sports. You don't have to have all this equipment. Golf's very hard. You have to buy a lot of equipment. It's expensive. It's good to see it changing in that. And I think it's going to get the younger audiences in there. I think we got some cleanup to do on that on the front with the image of the PGA Tour right now with the whole what just happened with LIV and some controversy and all that. So I don't know if leadership's going to remain the same. And I hope, I think we're on the right path though, which is good. Finally on the right path. But I think it's gonna be a fun week. I think, Steve, do you think it's gonna be more watched or less watched than the PGA Championship?
I think it'll start off more. So if you looked at the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, that'll be more. If there's a compelling story at the end of Saturday, then Sunday will also be more. If it's someone no one cares about or a huge lead or something, that might change. But if it's tight, which I think it will be, and the personalities at the top of that leaderboard are compelling, then I think it'll overall be more than the PGA, because I think the PGA kickstarted it.
Yeah, I do too. Yep.
Father's Day. Don't forget to send your father a gift. Find the link in the bio, Birdies_Bourbon, or just go to filmlandspirits.com.
Yeah, there is actually a Father's Day coupon out there right now if you wanted to send. And I wasn't going to do any commercial, but just to save people money if they happen to, if you type in DAD18, Dad18, because Father's Day is on the 18th, you can get 18% off on the Filmland Spirits website right now.
Good
Nice.
booze. Good
Nice.
booze.
Great booze. Yeah, absolutely. Good deal, man.
Things you should drink.
Absolutely.
What is hold on, Dan, do you have any questions to ask?
No, I think we covered it all, man.
They're Filmland Spirits. I mean, I want to know. I know we're approaching a time.
Yeah. I don't have any questions right now. Steve, do you have any movies you're looking forward to this summer?
Well, I was kind of looking forward to maybe the Indiana Jones reboot, but I've heard some bad things. So, I don't know if that's on the list as it once was. That's a nostalgia one, right? I mean, that's from my youth, and I kind of grew up with that character. So I always hope that there's a revitalization of it. But the early reviews or early feedback, I'll probably still go see it.
Me too.
What else is I don't know
think
what's
so either.
coming out. There's not a lot that's on my radar screen for the summer.
Not like it's been in the past, like no Top Gun or Mission Impossible or anything like that. So we'll stick to what we know.
Hold on, I do have one. It's going to be a multiple part question, but no, it's going to be a multiple part answer. So if I'm coming to LLCC and I'm watching, I'm going to the tournament at night or dinner, lunch, where am I heading? Where am I going to get a drink? And where am I going to grab some food?
Oh boy. Yeah. So, I prefer the coastal area. So, Marina del Rey, all the way down to Redondo Beach. There's 4 or 5 beach cities in between those. That's my favorite part of LA proper. So I love Manhattan Beach, Hermosa Beach, and Redondo Beach, that trifecta of beach cities, boom, 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 right in a row. They call it the South Bay affectionately. A little north of that is the classic Venice and Santa Monica, which are a little more touristy. And all of those places, though, have beautiful downtown little restaurant and nook areas. I like that vibe. I like the ocean breeze. I like being near the water. All great if you happen to be staying there. If you're staying a little more close to the golf course, Westwood, where the UCLA campus is, has a great strip of restaurants in Westwood. They kind of start at Wilshire Boulevard, which is, I think, a street you mentioned, work their way up to the UCLA campus, but right there. And then you get into Beverly Hills, and then there's a million great restaurants there. They're all probably twice as much as the value of the food. The food is good. It just costs twice as much as you can probably get it somewhere else. There's a little hidden gem of a place that I like called Culver City.
Oh yeah.
Culver City is
CU or CO?
CULVER. It is an area that was very popular for the movie industry. There's a movie studio there. Gone with the Wind was filmed around there, and it was very popular. Then it went into a little time of decay, but it's been revitalized now, and a lot of the old buildings have been restored. great little bars in some of them, some cool restaurants around there. So the hotels are cheaper there, the rent is cheaper there, but it's a fun place to kind of walk around, and it's an older feel with, like, the building might not look good on the outside, but you go inside and it's got a great whiskey selection. So Culver City is kind of cool as an off the beaten path place.
Nice.
Steve, this is something that we never talk about on the show, and we can close out with this.
Okay.
Do you believe in a higher power? I'm not asking what higher power, but do you believe that
And we'll get to
power?
that right after the break.
So
No.
I'll start by saying I respect anybody who does, but I do not. I do not believe in a higher power at all. Yeah.
So, and the reason, I mean, the things that you just said and you just lined up in Culver City,
Culver, Culver, Culver. Yeah.
Culver City.
Yeah.
And this, yeah. I mean, I live right across the way from a Confederate graveyard. And I agree with everything you've just said. We're all good.
Cool. I actually love those places where in the 30s, 40s, and 50s they were vibrant, and then maybe they were a little rough, and then the powers that be fixed them back up.
Yeah,
downtown San Diego is a great example of that, Old Town San Diego. But to me, those always have a personality, personality with a modern vibe, like great whiskey selection, great restaurants, great chefs are there, but the facade looks old and worked in, and I love that combination.
Yeah. The stigma doesn't necessarily deliver if you say so. Yeah, but you're saying it positive. I'm saying it positive also. It's just it doesn't have anything to do with whatever's around it. Yeah. All right. Nevertheless, I guess we should sign this one off.
Cheers, boys. Always a pleasure.
Cheers.
Steve, Dan, we'll try to make it go longer than